Hi, welcome to Crypto Info, where we talk about crypto and beyond. Today we're going to talk about how to choose altcoins for the best return. This is a simple method that works every time. But first, I'd like to ask you to go ahead and hit the like button if you like this video, and hit the subscribe button if you want to get more of this. So first off, we see that we've got Bitcoin on the left and the S&P 500 on the right. I want to show you correlation to charts here, because this is going to be a pivotal method for showing you how to find the best altcoins. So first off, Bitcoin on the left, we see that we had this major pump. I've talked about this in prior videos. As soon as the Fed increased the monetary supply and the CARES Act went into effect. Here's our pump up, and then it goes down and back up and down. If we look at both graphs here, we see that the S&P 500 right here is where we had a whole bunch of problems as it relates to the pandemic. It starts to go up, continues to go up, money is put into the market, it's doing halfway decent. It's continuing to go up before money is put into the market from the Fed and from the stimulus package. And if we look at the left graph right now, we see that these graphs are correlated. The high point on the left graph, BTC, occurs right here on the S&P 500, but we see that there's still plenty of room for the S&P 500 to go up. Now, we've been talking a lot about the S&P 500 being correlated to Bitcoin, and it is correlated, and it was very tightly correlated up until this point. But then all of a sudden we see Bitcoin take a crash, and we also see the S&P 500 go down a little bit. It's not a huge one. So how can we use this information to our benefit? Well, we're going to go over to this graph and see first off that right now Bitcoin is starting to go a little bit on a sideways pattern. So if we take a look at what that might look like, perhaps we get lucky and we see that it goes sideways just like this. Now, I'm not so convinced that we're going to get that lucky. What we're looking for, though, is some kind of a pattern in Bitcoin. So where might that happen? I've talked before about resistance and support, and this is one of the places where we have an enormous amount of support. So potentially Bitcoin could work its way right on down to here, and then potentially it might even kind of bounce. Let's put another line of what appears to be the resistance somewhere in this general vicinity. So possibly this is a scenario that could play out. Who knows? We've got an area here and an area here, and with any luck we'll see Bitcoin bounce around a little bit in this area here between 40,000 and 30,000. Now, I don't know if that's going to play out, because I've also been a little concerned about whether or not there's enough liquidity in the market to even hold Bitcoin at the 30,000. Potentially it could go back even further. We just have to wait and see. Right now we're just in a waiting game. We're going to find out where the bottom is and find out where the range is. So what we'd be looking for is some sort of a bounce here and some sort of resistance here. Maybe it'll go higher. Maybe we'll even get lucky and it'll shoot off to the moon. But I'm not holding my breath right now, because I'm not sure if there's anything that is going to cause that. Now, that said, we could have a major event that occurs and a narrative that occurs that sends it up. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about sideways trading and how we might be able to do that. You could just trade Bitcoin here, and if we pull up our calculator and we see Bitcoin presently at a 30 and 40,000 trading range, we go divided by 30, we've got about a 33% possible profit if we buy right at the bottom and sell right at the top. But that's probably not going to happen. More than likely, we're going to buy after we have a confirmation of a bounce, and then we're probably going to sell after we have a confirmation of upper resistance and a bounce off the upper resistance. So it'll probably be this range that we trade in, assuming that we have a sideways market. So how can we use this to our benefit? Well, let's take a look at this other graph here. So here I've got Bitcoin on the right, and I have an altcoin on the left, Link in this case. If we bring up our calculator again and take a look at, in this instance, where Bitcoin bottomed, and that's at 33,000, and it topped out here at, let's call it 38,000, just for the sake of easy math here. So we'll clear, we'll go 38 divided by 33, and what we see is a 15% increase in value if we trade at the very, very top and the very bottom of the range. But if we have an altcoin over here and we look at that same range, we've got 13.5 on the bottom and it looks like about 16.5 on the top. So let's see what that looks like. We go 16.5 divided by 13.5 equals, that's 22%. Remember, we saw 15% on Bitcoin. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that we're going to trade at the very top and at the very bottom, but if we were lucky enough to be able to make those trades at the very top and the very bottom, it's a lot nicer to make 22% than it would be to make 16%. So let's take a look at yet another one. Let's take a look at Matic. Now, I'm not suggesting that you trade these. I'm just showing them so I can exemplify. So again, we bring up our calculator and we look at Matic and we see on the low side it's $1 and we'll call it 31 cents, and on the high it's about $1.70, we'll call it. So let's take that 1.7 and divide it by 1.3, and we see that we've got a 30% return if we can trade on the edges of the trading range. Let's take a look at another one here. Again, just as an example here, you want to find your own and maybe decide to use these, but I'm not necessarily promoting the use of these specific ones, only just illustrating. So again, we've got Sol, Phantasma. The bottom looks like about, let's call it 130, and the top we'll call it 190 to be conservative. So let's pull up our calculator. We go 1.9 divided by 1.3, and look at there, 46% return on that particular one. So if we use the same trading range, there's no reason why we couldn't look at that as a potential candidate. Let's take a look at another one here, Near. So again, Near, on this particular one, we got 9.5 on the low end, and we'll call it 12.5 on the high end for some easy math. Pull up our calculator again, 12.5 divided by 9.5. That's a 31%. That's twice what we found with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a 15% return on investment if we buy at the low and sell at the high. If we buy Near at the low and sell at the high, we've got potentially a 30% return on investment in the same time frame. There's our examples of 4 different altcoins that we can easily choose. And all you got to do is just go through your list of altcoins. You can take CoinGecko or marketcap.com and just show the coins and just go down the list and find out which ones reacted during this period of time or any other period of time, and do your division, and you got a super simple, easy method to find the best returning altcoins. All right, well, that's my video for right now. If you like this video, please do hit the like button, and also please do subscribe if you want to see more of these. Hit the notification bell and it'll notify you. All right, thanks. Goodbye.